I know we usually do dignitaries first, but I'm sure dignitaries won't mind because this morning really is about the media, and hoping that you find this interesting, and write about it and do stories about it. Special good morning to Dewan Howell, Executive Director of Republic Bank, Zia Payton, partner at PwC, Karina Coburn, who is the resident rep of the IDB in Trinidad and Tobago. Great to have you, Karina. I hope this is your first public engagement with a business chamber. And Lauren Modest, the GM of Digital Business. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this morning. In case you didn't know, I'm obliged to say that I am, as of now anyway, the CEO of AMCHAM T&T. My name is Neeraj Tiwari, and I have the honor of welcoming everyone to the launch of our annual Tech Hub Island Summit 2021 edition. Before we begin, just some quick housekeeping. Please keep your mics muted if you're presenting, and this session is being recorded, so by continuing to participate, you are consenting to being recorded. Today we'll feature some short presentations from our sponsors, following which we'll open the session to questions from the media. And of course, as I said, we're very grateful that you're taking the time to join us today. You can use the raise hand. I assume that the team at AMCHAM will then open your mic, or you can type your questions in the Q&A. So we'll do our best to answer all the questions, and hopefully among the people joining me, they will have the expertise to answer the questions. This is our third edition of the Tech Hub Island Summit, or this. Last year was a unique edition where we had to break it up because the pandemic hit in March and the conference was scheduled for June. And so what we did was a series of events as opposed to a single conference. But in 2019, we launched this, and it was, by all accounts, a resounding success. We exceeded our number of participants. We had more than 300 people attending. The satisfaction was above 97% from attendees. And we think we got some really great conversations stimulated, and we thought we were catalyzing the digital transformation discussion. Little did we know that the digital transformation discussion would be catalyzed even further and faster by the events of 2020. And I mean, you know, I think I've told this joke too many times, but it's worthy of note that most CIOs, most CEOs say that the thing that has done the most for digital transformation in their organization is not them, but COVID-19. So before I get into the meat of the conference, though, I do think I'd like to take a moment on behalf of the organization and on behalf of our board to offer condolences, because while we talk about the impact, the positive impact on some aspects of business and the digital transformation journey, COVID-19 has wreaked havoc in families. It has wreaked havoc in many, many different ways, including the loss of life and livelihoods. And it's not been positive for everyone. And what I think as a society we have to try and do is to find ways to help where we can and use the tools we can to soften the impact now and create opportunity after. In the meantime, we each have to play our parts and try our best to do what we can to curb the spread. So where you can flatten the curve by staying home and reducing your interaction, please do so. Now, in the midst of all of that, let's be honest. Trinidad and Tobago has always been a resilient nation. We complain, we love to poke fun, but we adapt. We are quick to adapt to any storm that is poised to derail whatever we might have to deal with. We saw this many times over the past 15 months, and we continue to see this. When we are faced with new challenges and changes to our usual habits and customs, the best and the brightest of us shines through in our darkest moments. In fact, I would argue this is a general feature of Caribbean people. There's no reason why we can't make this happen again. And that brings us to where we are today. 3 years ago, as I mentioned, we brought some of the leading experts in the world of technology into one room at the Hyatt. We invited more than 300 companies to be part of this nexus of change and innovation. We wanted to create conversations and collaboration among industry leaders and ultimately build the Tech Hub Island Summit as the fulcrum of our nation becoming one of the leading tech hubs in the world. We don't now have all the answers, maybe not even a detailed roadmap to achieve this, at least not yet, right, Karina? So now is not the time, for bold statements from us. I'm not going to try and put forward something revolutionary. It's just time to do the work. Our goal is clear. AMCHAM T&T will be the catalyst for making T&T a global tech hub. We will forge the partnerships as we are doing here today to enable us to achieve this goal, and we will work tirelessly and creatively and methodically to make this goal a reality. We will not sit by and hope for diversification to happen. We will not sit by and hope for investment to just happen to come into T&T. We will work hard, we'll work tirelessly to make these a reality. Along the way, we might stumble, but we'll get back up, trust me. We'll hold the hands of our partners as we hope they will hold ours. We'll find the innovators, we'll enable them. And one day soon, we'll be able to say, this happened. This is T&T, a global technology hub. While we still have some ways to go before we meet this goal, we believe that creating a tech ecosystem will contribute significantly to future growth and sustainability. So we cannot stand still. We cannot seek to deploy, invest in, or adapt technology that by the time of implementation is old technology because we're too late. We have to constantly look forward, developing our tech sector for other markets and earning foreign exchange, using the new knowledge to transform local businesses. After all, every business today is at least partly a tech business. This journey would be easier if both the private and public sectors were transforming together. So we welcome the work being done at the government level, in particular, through the Ministry of Public Administration and Digital Transformation, and through agencies such as the TTIFC and iGov-TT. Indeed, our own Zia Payton, and I'm claiming you here, Zia, not in your PwC role, but as chair of our Digital Transformation Committee, sits on a subcommittee of the Cabinet Subcommittee on Digitization. I hope I got that name right. But we're contributing. Undoubtedly, those agencies and ministries are key partners and indeed drivers in the process of developing our tech hub islands, and we look forward to continuing to work with them. As we partner, the dreaming must not stop. That's why this is themed Now and Beyond. At this year's conference, the story we are telling is not about becoming complacent with what seems to work now. Instead, we must consistently and constantly look ahead so that we are always chasing our dreams while those dreams hurtle us to a brighter future. Recognizing that technology is growing at a rapid pace and waiting on no one is crucial to us actually reaping the rewards from investments in the tech ecosystem. Therefore, it isn't enough to digitally transform our operations because we're solving now problems. The real success is using technology, using digital transformation to take us beyond the now problem, diagnose, deploy, and solve for what's beyond. That's when we know technology is working for us. And ultimately, we should be developing our tech hub islands because that will contribute to building a future with fewer inequalities and opportunities for everyone. So we want you to move beyond with us and imagine a world where we are not just adopting technology, but where we are also developing the next wave of innovation. This wave will see us relying more heavily on third platforms, technologies with the convergence of mobile, cloud, IoT, blockchain, artificial intelligence, big data, and robotics that will alter even more how we live, how we perform transactions, and ultimately how we drive decisions to conduct business and our lives. But we must do so not just as consumers, but also creators. This year, the conference will be hosted over 3 interactive days from July 5th to 7th, 2021, and it will be 100% virtual to maintain public health and safety. This shows how quickly, it's a small thing, but still we were able to adapt, and we've embraced the technologies that will allow us to reach possibly a wider audience, as well as ensure that all attendees are safe. Once more, we have invited some of the leading thinkers and influencers in the world of technology who are part of the global tech ecosystem, already reimagining and reinventing businesses, government processes, and indeed entire countries. We have dynamic speakers from companies such as Google, PwC, SAP, Visa, the IDB, Republic Bank, Digicel, the World Economic Forum, and many more will be added in the coming weeks. Our speakers will look at both public and private sector innovation and at the accelerated urgency to adapt to the changing circumstances and needs. At this 2021, we will take a look at where we are right now in our digital transformation journey, where we should be heading, and the steps we need to take now to ensure we get there and move beyond. This year, we have a strong lineup of sponsors who are once more supporting us and to whom and for whom we are eternally grateful. We welcome back our title sponsor, Republic Bank Limited, who joined us really with a leap of faith in year one and committed to 2 years of sponsorship and came back this year. So Dewan, Karen, Andrea and your team, we cannot thank you enough for believing in this and working with us to make our islands tech hub islands and that global player in the tech ecosystem. Thank you very much. Our platinum sponsors, PwC and Digicel Business, both of whom again came in the first year, and both of whom are more than just sponsors as they contribute. As I mentioned, Zia is, I mean, we couldn't pay for Zia's time. That alone in sponsorship is worth some platinum. But the ideas, the contributions are really, really appreciated. And of course, the sponsorship value is great and enables us to do all these things and attract the kind of speakers that we do. And of course, our gold sponsor, the Inter-American Development Bank, who was with us from day one and has been finding innovative ways to partner with us throughout. And I dare say Karina and I have been on this journey for more than a decade, and hopefully we'll start seeing even more fruits of that as she now has a different position and maybe more influence than before. So we thank all our sponsors for their support and partnership on this very important and worthwhile set of issues. Like each of our sponsors, we believe that our nation's future growth and sustainability is dependent on the right investments being made today and the infusion of technology in all aspects of the society. We hope this will once more spark a great dialogue, partnerships, and actions that will help us realize a new technological frontier beyond that we have now. As I conclude, let me remind you to check the official This 2021 conference website at techislands.net. So www.techislands.net. There's a little challenge that we're having with the domain for now, so you do need to use the www. We hope to have that rectified shortly, but www.techislands.net. There you'll find the information about our speakers, sponsors, agenda, sessions, topics, registration details, and much more. We look forward to each of your support, but I couldn't end without thanking Rayan and Nirala, who have really brought us to this point. Rayan has been driving the agenda and making sure everything has happened. And I'm very proud to say all of our graphics and design work has been done in-house by Nirala Budu. And I'm really very pleased with what we've produced, or what she's produced, I should say. So thank you very much, ladies, for all that you do. And of course, we have a great team with Hema and Michelle and everybody behind them. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without the dedication of our team here at AMCHAM Trinidad and Tobago. So thank you very much to the team behind the wall, as it were. So now, my job is a little easier. I have the pleasure to introduce our sponsors. First up, we have our title sponsor, Republic Bank. And to speak on their behalf, we're honored to have with us here today, Mr. Dewan Howell, who is the Executive Director of Republic Bank. He was appointed an Executive Director in 2012. He also serves as Chairman of Republic Bank Barbados Limited, Republic Bank Suriname, Republic Bank EC Limited, and Republic Bank Anguilla Limited. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, First Class Honors, and an Executive Master of Business Administration from both the UE and a Master of Science in Telecom Systems from the University of Essex, and is a graduate of the Harvard Business School Advanced Management Program. He's a senior member of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, a member of the Institution of Engineering and Technology, and a member of the Engineering Council of the United Kingdom as a chartered engineer. Mr. Howell is also the chairman of Habitat for Humanity Trinidad and Tobago and a chancellor's representative on the UE St. Augustine Campus Council. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very pleased to have with us Mr. Dewan Howell, Executive Director of Republic Bank Limited. Over to you, Mr. Howell.
Thank you for that introduction, Nirad. All protocols having been observed, and good morning, everyone. Over the past year, the global community has become familiar with so many buzzwords. I was trying to conquer many of them Nirad used in his introduction. We have pivot, digital transformation, e-commerce, contactless, virtual, and the list goes on. But as a result, there have been myriad references that tout the virtual space now as really our new global reality. The fact that we are gathered in this forum virtually, I think is proof of that now ubiquitous online existence. And for some of us, this may be a welcome reality. For others, understandably, maybe the opposite. Humans are interactive social creatures. We value being in the company of others. Since 2020 in March, we've been forced to shelter in place in various forms as we seek to create an environment that is less hospitable to the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which I understand is the virus, COVID is the disease. Unfortunately, technology has come to our rescue to bridge the gap between friends and family, between home and work, between consumers and businesses, and between governments and citizens. Not unlike many other businesses across the globe, Republic Bank has had to focus on making virtual a deeper part of our reality. Now, while it is baffling to some, it's well known that some customers like to come to branches to complete their transactions. But more importantly, I think to interact with other customers and employees with whom they become familiar. And that's a common feature of banking culture in this part of the world. So the claim that virtual is our new reality has been more of a culture shift for us in the banking environment. In the context of the pandemic, the face of banking has changed. Face-to-face is becoming less and less the reality. And when it does happen, that face better have a mask on it. I think the ultimate irony, eh? Banking and other businesses now exist online, or they do in so much as our local landscape will allow. But how do we encourage the national community to accept this reality, not just for banking, but for every facet of life? In this context, I use the local landscape to encompass the local payment systems, businesses' ability to accept and fulfill client requests online, and importantly, government's ability to transact in an online world. Several gaps in this landscape have prevented us from pivoting as quickly and as completely as we could to live in this new paradigm, and therefore, I think, require immediate attention. The saying, never let a good crisis go to waste, I think is apt. We should be using the challenges brought on by the pandemic to take a critical look at our local landscape and to bootstrap our various systems to allow for a more efficient society in the post-COVID era, whenever that may be. Our aim should be rapid national implementation with cross-sector cooperation, and I really want to commend AMCHAM for the work they're doing in acting as that catalyst in that sort of work. No consumer, business, or government department should be left behind due to hesitation, lack of resources, or lack of knowledge. And most importantly, the virtual shift should not be viewed as a chore, but as a valued amenity, indeed, a national necessity. For most businesses, there are three aspects that need reviewing: ordering, or the capability to allow for orders, processing and fulfillment, and of course, payment. And each comes with its own level of complexity and challenge. In the case of the government and government agencies, on the payment side, there exist legislative hurdles that must be overcome. I was heartened to see a recently issued circular letter from the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago advising of its consultation with market players on a proposal for a payment system bill for Trinidad and Tobago. Such consultations and the realization of the resulting legislation cannot come fast enough. Truth be told, though, even in the absence of these legislative enablers for government payments, across the region and here at home, all manner of businesses, be they small or large, have answered the call to adapt to this new reality with varying levels of success, and all have introduced a level of technology to meet their clients' needs. Now, while in this forum, we concentrate on computer-based technology, and that has been in the forefront of a lot of these changes, I must also mention creativity and innovation are key to some of these approaches, even when they don't involve technology. And I am sure we can all remember the concept of deconstructed doubles. You know, another example that we at Republic Bank are particularly proud of is the local design and construction of several isopods by a local company, Laser Solutions Limited, for the country's regional health authorities. An isopod is an individual patient isolation system that helps transport patients who have an infectious disease. And while during the pandemic, these isopods will largely be used to transport and deal with COVID-19 patients, post-COVID, these can also be utilized for cancer patients and even burn victims. The key here is a willingness to think and rethink our businesses and come at things from a different direction. On the services side, I am sure we have all by now experienced the convenience, and we're probably missing it right now, the likes of food drop, we eat, skip the line. We can order groceries for curbside pickup or even home delivery. And for a shameless plug, more recently, you would have seen Republic Bank introduce the contactless payment solution, AMCHAM, and I hope you've all already signed up for this. And if you haven't already, we can send you a link to that app. And while these changes, I think, have been a survival method for most, and maybe a knee-jerk reaction to the pandemic for some, it proves that Trinidad and Tobago has the potential to make virtual a bigger part of our reality. Virtual has infiltrated our workplaces, it has infiltrated our schools, and even our places of worship. For those who may be skeptical and suspicious of a virtual workplace, we should see the digitizing of operations not as a threat to employees, but as a way of freeing them to do more rewarding work in interacting with clients. Consumers should see it as a way to save time, which they can divert to doing more things that they enjoy. Businesses and governments should see it as a way of enhancing employee skill sets, creating a more capable workforce, and improving efficiency. It is not about removing the human element, but about enhancing it by investing in alternative work options, improving the ease of doing business, and implementing contactless business solutions. At this weekend's Ministry of Health briefing on COVID-19, I heard Minister Dewan speak to the spinning up of an online system for registration for appointments for the COVID-19 vaccine. Immediately, I saw the opportunity for that to now be extended to a mobile-based vaccine record system, which will allow vaccinated citizens to display a certified record of their vaccination status on their smartphone. Let's not let a good crisis go to waste, and let's find a way to introduce systems that can have life after the pandemic. The steps we have taken as a national community towards technological diversification, forced or otherwise, are small and growing, and they represent, I think, the willingness and the ability to strengthen Trinidad and Tobago's tech ecosystem, to improve the overall efficiency of our society, and ultimately to grow our local economy. Republic Bank stands ready with AMCHAM and other sponsors to make virtual a deeper part of Trinidad and Tobago's reality. And it is once again our pleasure to be associated with the Tech Hub Island Summit. I thank you.
Well, we thank you, Dewan, again, for your words, for your vision, and for your partnership. It's now time, though, for us to hear from Zia Payton on behalf of our Platinum sponsor, PwC, to offer some remarks. Zia is a partner at PwC who leads the consulting practice and has over 20 years of experience leading major advisory projects for clients in both the public and private sectors. Apparently, she was doing this in kindergarten. Zia is a subject matter expert in institutional strengthening, strategic planning, finance, function effectiveness, change management, business process reengineering, and procurement, including public-private partnerships. She has deep experience working with international, regional, and local enterprises, and has extensive experience in serving government and government-related agencies in Trinidad and Tobago and the region to develop their transformation initiatives. She has led a large number of advisory projects, including performance improvement and change transformation programs, as well as PPP transactions among other government ministries and statutory authorities across the Caribbean. Zia is familiar with the requirements of transformation in the public sector and has the experience of leading and coordinating multinational, multidisciplinary teams of consultants on complex projects and also across a number of countries. And if I may say, just a small testimony to the quality of her work is how the international consultants with whom we interact in PwC respond to Zia and the sort of deference that they give to her when they're co-presenting. Zia is a fellow of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants and holds an MBA with Heriot-Watt University. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Zia Payton, partner at PwC.
Thank you, Narad, and thank you, Dewan, as well. So Narad mentioned that PwC has been a part of this, like RBL and other sponsors, from inception. And that's not by chance. It is the fact that we are all rooted in a common purpose and an understanding of the wider societal responsibility that we all have when it comes to driving success in the digital age. PwC's purpose is to build trust and to solve important problems. And that purpose is what drives us and what drives our sponsorship on this particular conference, as well as the collaborations that we have even wider. So at a network level, many years ago, recognizing the digital age approaching, at a network level, PwC began significant investments in preparing for the digital age and to ensure that resilience. There would have been investments at an operational level, investing in greater digital technologies, but then also investing and understanding and supporting our clients as they navigate the digital journey, and clients being corporates and countries. So as we PwC think about our role and how we support that, it's that wider societal view. And what we've specifically narrowed onto is, and Dewan mentioned it in his comments, is people. That technology cannot succeed without people using that technology and making the right decisions about how technology is used and how we allow it to ease our lives, to make our lives easier. And as part of PwC's commitment to making sure that while digital has the potential to create divide, it's well spoken about the digital divide that exists, and we recognized it particularly during the pandemic and in the education sector, those that needed additional support from a digital perspective. So there's the opportunity for us to fill that gap, every single one of us as corporates and as individual citizens, to support the narrowing of that gap and to allow digital to unite us and to strengthen us. Dewan mentioned many examples of how it can do that. So our commitment at PwC is one that's rooted in ensuring that every single one of our staff members is digitally upskilled. Digital is not for the few tech oriented persons. Digital is for everyone. And there is a fundamental level of training and exposure to tools that every single one of our staff members are given. Whether they stay with PwC or become part of wider society, they're all upskilled. And the other commitment that is important to us is that wider commitment to supporting initiatives and working through committees like AMCHAM and through AMCHAM as well. He mentioned the work that we do at the government level in Trinidad and Tobago. I also sit and wear the hat as Caribbean lead for digital across the PwC Caribbean region. And what my particular goal is in that is that there are team members that sit across the Caribbean as well. But as Narad mentioned, we have a wider global network. And how do we ensure that we leverage that wider global network to the benefit of the Caribbean? Because our story and how we chart the course and succeed in digital is going to be unique to us. The scale of our respective islands and the cultural nuances are different, and we can and will succeed in digital. In our digital readiness survey that was completed and launched earlier this year, we noted, companies like RBL standing out as one of the transcenders. We have many examples of companies and countries who are making great strides in digital, and we need to learn from each other and collaborate with each other. PwC remains committed to supporting that collaboration. We support, obviously, in the execution of assignments in digital, in supporting our countries and companies, but we're also committed to time and effort to that national and wider growth at Trinidad and Tobago level and wider Caribbean as well. There's a lot we can learn from each other. And really, I guess just to reinforce that, everything that AMCHAM is doing through this conference, and I've seen the momentum from 2019 to date, and the pivoting that they were able to do even throughout the pandemic, and to continue to drive the conversation in digital. We're happy to be a part of it and to make our contributions. So thank you, Narad.
Thank you very much, Zia. And as I said, thanks not just for you in your PwC hat, but in terms of your personal expertise and time that you spend on driving this agenda more broadly. It's now time to introduce another one of our sponsors. I think it would be Safe Techie. Speaking on behalf of our other Platinum sponsor, Digicel, is Lawrence Modest, who's General Manager of Digicel Business. He's a certified systems engineer, application developer, and solution developer who possesses more than 2 decades of experience in the areas of solution design and software development. Lawrence has also spent 18 years leading and developing teams in the ICT industry. During his years in the industry, he has performed multiple job functions and held leadership roles in sales and government relations. Additionally, Lawrence has worked in sales for 15 years and has managed overseas departments in multiple nations, pioneering the development of strategic plans, sales strategies, and ICT policies. He's the holder of a master's in computer science from Michigan Technological University and an MBA from Andrews University. Lawrence is also a certified ethical hacker, and we're happy to have him as part of this launch and the conference this year. So welcome, Lawrence. We don't seem to be hearing you, at least I'm not, even though you're not on mute.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, excellent. So firstly, let me thank you for the opportunity to participate in this event. No pun on this intended. I was recently appointed as General Manager of Digital Business, and I distinctly remember the national and global temperature of the business community, juxtaposing some companies successfully navigating toward technology, whilst many others unfortunately struggled, and we also are aware of several that failed. I pondered at the time what I could tangibly do to help businesses pivot in this regard and thereby survive. So now, at the helm of one of the region's largest telecommunications providers, and indeed at a time when the world needs technology the most, my surmising has essentially led me to the following. I need to encourage collaboration and ensure that I was the best business partner that anyone could ask for. This term digital transformation was already gaining significant traction long before COVID-19 emerged. And now, to Dewan's point, it's mentioned ad nauseum. Nevertheless, the real question is, have businesses actually leaned into real digital transformation? I mean, think about it. It's no secret that the pandemic has had a significant impact on economies around the world, with many, including our own, becoming constricted and constrained. Digital Business recently surveyed more than 700 companies in the local market, and our findings are actually quite telling. 91% of the companies are concerned about business performance. 50% have had to alter their staff requirements. 18% are not satisfied with, that they have the right technology for remote working and so on. And 85% have admitted that they will see significant impact to their revenue. Although working from home and using applications like Microsoft 365 or Teams is part of digital transformation, that's not all there is to it. Leveraging technology to its fullest potential is what really lies at the heart of digital transformation. And it's something that we as a business community should all be fully committed to. And I can assure you all that that's a top priority for us at Digicel. So this is why, even though we are the number one traditional telecommunications provider, we haven't become complacent in that position. And we, to use another cliche word, have pivoted our business to align with the trajectory of both the market and our customers. So we are now classed as a true digital operator, and we're focused on helping other companies make that transition by enabling and embracing digital transformation, making sure that we equip them with the right tools, services, and expertise. We also understand the importance of being a good partner in this transition, and I would really urge everyone to really focus on being good partners as well. While we're on the topic of good partnership, I really want to emphasize the significance of having partners like AMCHAM. It's a partnership that we at Digicel truly appreciate, because we realize that as we continue to collaborate, we can only be better together. Through these kind of business events, we can create spaces where partnership truly flourishes, and this is the type of cooperation that is necessary to help organizations make that digital leap. The fact is that digital transformation is no longer a nice phrase to be thrown around. It's actually an economic necessity. The current climate in Trinidad and Tobago is one where many market segments and even persons with disposable income have been reduced significantly. And one of the major questions companies are now asking themselves is, okay, how do we innovate to ensure that we maintain similar pre-pandemic levels of revenue? I'm actually reminded of a book by Andreas Oppenheimer on the subject of innovation, which is quite aptly titled Innovate or Die. And so for many organizations, they realize that that type of rapid innovation can actually be spurred on through digital transformation. And to be clear, it's not just about some companies doing some activities digitally. It's actually about looking at your entire business model and all the associated processes and understanding how you can leverage technology to migrate those processes to become truly digital. Now, at Digicel, we know it's possible. We've helped many companies, SMEs, even barbershops. We've helped many large conglomerates, even some of the region's largest financial, even medical institutions, transform their businesses digitally. While we're under this state of emergency, and we understand that that will curtail the amount of business that could be done physically, it might even halt the mechanics of others. It nevertheless creates an opportunity, we believe, for businesses to focus on online activities. We also anticipate that once the state of emergency is lifted, you would actually see an influx of demand because, of course, you have all this pent-up even spending anxiety, right? Today, though, I'm really hopeful that all of the participants in this see opportunities for how technology could expand their reach, help them consolidate their footprint, increase efficiency, streamline processes, and of course, position them for success. So we're looking forward to discussing in partnership with you how we really go about digitally transforming the economy and how we as a business community work together towards that common goal. Welcome to the future. We're living it, and it is digital. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Lawrence. Thanks for that perspective and of course for the partnership. Finally, in terms of presenters, last but by no means least, we have Karina Coburn, who is the new, I could still call you new, right? Country resident representative of the Inter-American Development Bank. Karina, though, is no stranger to Trinidad and Tobago, having been here on assignment for a number of years just prior to taking up this role. She's an economic development professional and change leader with over 20 years experience in the public and private sectors. Her core competencies include strategic planning, change management, and project portfolio management. For over 10 years, she served in a variety of positions at the IADB and was appointed country representative for Trinidad and Tobago in April of this year. She has also worked extensively across the Caribbean as a project manager and consultant, including assignments with the LaSalle Group and Prime Asset Management in Jamaica and Sagicor Group in Barbados. She has worked with the Canadian International Development Agency. Used to be CEDA, now it's DFAD. Hope they didn't pay for that name change. The UK's development agencies DFID and also served as a technical advisor to the Minister of Finance in Jamaica. Karina is a Jamaica Rhodes Scholar with a Master in Business Administration and a Master of Science in Economics and Social History from Oxford University. She also holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Management Studies from the University of the West Indies, where she was the valedictorian of her graduating class. I won't say what year, Karina, although it's in your bio. Karina is also a project management professional and certified Scrum Master. It's my pleasure to introduce Karina Coburn.
Nirad, thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me well? Great. So yes, it's really a pleasure to be here. You're correct. It is my first public event with a business chamber. Don't know what that means, but I'm very, very pleased to be here and to join the fellow sponsors, the staff of AMCHAM T&T, who have worked so hard to put together this event, members of the media, and our other distinguished guests who are with us today. So thanks for the warm welcome. You know, this event is pretty relevant for the Inter-American Development Bank. We particularly admire, within the circumstances, AMCHAM's commitment to the continued hosting of this event. You know, as you mentioned, there are families who we need to express our condolences to for having lost loved ones during this crisis. And we all have our challenges. For me, it could be as simple as banishing my family to a room in the house on pain of death to keep silent and hoping no one runs across the screen during the event. And business owners, have very serious challenges as well in terms of keeping things going. And so in a sense, even though it's difficult and challenging to host an event like this in the situation we're in, it's also particularly relevant because we all need to leverage technology in whatever space we operate in. At the IDB, it's a priority for us to support digital transformation in both the private and the public sectors. In fact, it's a key element of our region-wide vision for Latin America and the Caribbean, which is entitled Vision 2025. And digitalization is a key pillar of the types of relationships and interventions that we plan to have in all our member countries. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, we have been working on financing technological solutions through our 3 windows: the IDB, which supports government programs, IDB Invest, which partners with private sector firms, and IDB Lab, which focuses on the development of smaller businesses. I'll give a few examples of the ways in which we have been working in the space. So with government, we are working to leverage technologies in areas such as property registration, fiscal management, construction permitting is an area, trade, for example. While on the private sector side, we are working on promoting technological solutions for renewable energy within financial institutions, and also on supporting micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to integrate more into the online space. So we see this as a great opportunity to discuss new ideas and think carefully about how we can move quickly to compete within the global digital marketplace and to pursue the goal of becoming a regional and eventually an international tech center. The key is we won't have time to follow a sequential approach and move through all the various stages of digitalization. But we have to make a real push to leapfrog ahead into a world that's already approaching digital 3.0. So I look forward to having more dialogue about that at the event itself. And thanks again, Nirad and team, for the opportunity to collaborate on this.
Thank you very much, Karina, for agreeing to collaborate. And I mean, we won't talk about the fact that how your schedule just magically opened up to allow you to participate today, and how much that just shows that it's fate that you are somehow connected personally as well to the success of this. So thank you to all our sponsors for taking the time to be with us here today and for sharing thoughts. It's now time to give the media a little chance to ask any questions that you may have, anything that we didn't quite explain. So I think what we will do is, if you raise your hands, the AMCHAM Trinidad and Tobago team will open your cameras and mics so that you can ask your questions. If you don't mind identifying yourself and your media house, that would be great. And if there's anyone in particular you want to answer your question, you can direct it to them. If it's a general question, we're happy to try and figure out which one of us, or I should say, which one of the sponsors is most able to answer those questions. If you don't want to open your mics, just put it in the Q&A and we'll look at those as well. So I'm not seeing anyone with a question. I'm going to take that to mean that generally the presentations were comprehensive and you are satisfied with what we've said and think it worthy of publication and broadcast, as the case may be, hopefully. So do we have any questions from the media? Rayan, am I missing anything? That's happened sometimes. No, that's a big no in caps. Okay, so I guess we haven't missed anything. So something in this. There's a Q&A to Mr. Howell, Sunil. Sunil Lala, is it that you want to, Ray, can you open Sunil Lala's mic and camera, please?
Yes, hi, good morning. You hear me properly?
Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Sunil Lala from T&T. To Mr. Howell, you mentioned, if I heard you correctly, you spoke about Minister Dewan saying, suggesting a way for him to bring some sort of digital equity to the vaccines and so on. Could you just repeat or expand on it a bit? I'm not sure if I heard you correctly. Was it pertaining to the vaccines or was it pertaining to, sorry, not the vaccines, to getting a digital area to get vaccinated? Yeah, could you expand on that?
Yeah, well, all I was, thanks for the question. All I was really pointing out is that last Saturday he mentioned that the government was looking at, I think, repurposing a piece of software they use with one of the other ministries to allow people to register online for the vaccines. You know, right now I think there's a sort of phone system or a WhatsApp system that they use, and he was speaking about them putting up or repurposing something I think they use at one of the, I think, social development or something, where you can go online now and register. And I'm saying, you know, for me, that sort of sparked an immediate reaction to say, okay, if you have all of this information online now, when they actually get the vaccine is a simple, or it could be something that we could look at to now then extend that, because you've already been registered for the vaccine, right? And if you get the vaccine, now we now have your information. We can now create a sort of digital record of your vaccination and have that interface with an app on your phone so that you can, you know, now show on your phone that you've been vaccinated, you know. So for me, it's really just a way of making sure that once you get something digital, you kind of keep that information and use it as best you can. And I think a digital record of vaccination on a smartphone or some other device is something that, you know, is certainly be useful.
Mr. Howell, we've been talking about digital transformation since March 2020. Based on the minister's statement and saying that, you know, they're now bringing some of the online aspect towards making appointments and so on. Do you think we've become too late in the game? Because it's almost a year into the pandemic. Do you think this should have been done much earlier?
Well, I mean, I don't think I'll venture to comment on that, except to say that you say we are a year into it, but remember, you know, March 2020, the challenge that we and the government faced was a totally different challenge, right? It was about keeping the nation safe. The vaccination issue is a relatively recent issue. And, you know, at the end of the day, everybody can have their opinion on whether we're late or we're early. But at the end of the day, you know, to the extent that it happens, you know, I'll more focus on the fact that it's happening rather than comment on the timing.
Right, and finally for me, Mr. Howell, you spoke about, you know, there's a difficulty in getting many of the population to go online and do online banking. I know a lot of the elderly population would prefer coming in to do transactions at the bank as well. How do you change that into getting some of these people, you know, online, especially the elderly? How do you change that culture, especially for these elderly people who thrive on getting their transactions done at the bank? Well,
I think Sunil is one screen at a time. You know, I mean, it's definitely a challenge. I think that, you know, we certainly, and it's not an elderly problem alone. I'll tell you that. So I don't want to be, you know, to be pushing that on the elderly alone. It's across the spectrum. You know, people have different levels of comfort with technology. You know, I mean, if you listen to the anecdotal stories about people having a concern with the vaccine, about microchips and all of those things, you understand where there's fear of anything. And I think at the end of it is really for us to to show people how easy it is. I mean, we have seen examples of younger children you know, showing granny or grandpa how easy it is to use the iPad or whatever it is. And it's about creating that level of comfort. It's about education, just as that is with the vaccine. It's about education. It's about creating, you know, confidence in these things and making sure that people feel comfortable to adopt the technology. And when they see how easy it is, then it becomes a little easier for them to make that transition in other areas of their life.
Thank you, Sunil. Do we have any more questions from the media? I haven't seen any, and I haven't seen any raised hands. Okay, so if we don't, again, we'd like to thank all of you for taking the time to attend this media launch. And hopefully, as I said, you found something interesting enough to put into the press or the mass media in some way. We know that you have a lot going on. We did promise you an hour, so hopefully we will stick to that. We want to thank our sponsors, our title sponsor, Republic Bank, our platinum sponsors, PwC and Digicel Business, and our gold sponsor, the Inter-American Development Bank, for your faith in us and your time today as well. With these sponsors, we really hope that it shows you how impactful this conference can be. We thank the board of AMCHAM Trinidad and Tobago for having the vision to allow this project to come to fruition. I mean, when we went to them in 2019, it was an idea. And then when we told them it was a 2-day conference, they said, what? We thought it was like a half-day conference, and what we're doing and so on. And so it really was a leap of faith. And of course, the leadership of our president, Patricia Ghani, would have been instrumental in creating the space for us to do this. A reminder that the conference website is www.techislands.net. That's www.techislands.net, and the dates for the conference are the 5th to the 7th of July, and we look forward to having you all there. And of course, the media, we'd like to have you all participate in the conference and report on some of the things. We're doing things like the future of work, we're doing smart cities, we're doing possibilities for the future, we're doing fintech and the like. So the topics we think are all very, very relevant and interesting, and you could find more about those on the website. As we leave and as we say thanks again, just for what it's worth, a reminder that we really encourage everyone to get the vaccine. By all means, do your reading. Make sure that you're comfortable. Also remember that vaccines have all but eradicated, have eradicated smallpox, all but eradicated polio, significantly reduced the incidence of measles, mumps, and rubella, and that all of us in Trinidad and Tobago, every student who has been in school has gotten an MMR vaccine, because it is a requirement to go to school. So it's not, vaccines are not new to us. We're familiar with these things. And the vaccines that we are getting here are WHO approved, which hopefully will give a different level of comfort, but get vaccinated. It is the quickest way to get back to Carnival, to flying, to Christmas with your family, or whatever is important to you in a social setting. Church in a big way. So please do consider getting the vaccine. And if you've already decided that it's safe, go and get it as soon as you can. It will do a lot to reopening our economy and restoring livelihoods and protecting lives. So from all of us here at AMCHAM T&T, again, thanks to the team, to Rayanne and Nirala in particular, but Hema and Michelle, who've been providing tremendous support, as well as the entire team at AMCHAM Trinidad and Tobago. We thank you very much. We thank all our sponsors once again, and special thanks to the media for taking time, those of you who have been here taking time, and to our presenters. Well, you have our eternal gratitude and looking forward to a fantastic conference. I know we're not going to do anything to the scene, but we're gonna make it better. So, all right, folks, take care and have a good day, everyone. Be safe.